the emergence of something that we can describe as global civil society in this period as a vehicle for disseminating a different vision for the future and support for a much more globally and regionally defined common good than emerges out of most national political arenas. And the problem of the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction suggests that the dysfunctionality of war at this stage of human history is so pronounced that if we cannot find ways of establishing social and political peace on regional and global levels, we will again face a dreadful future. I think there is a certain reason to be not too pessimistic on this ground, because I don't think there are the resources to both meet the economic and ecological challenges and sustain this kind of war system. We do need to have a dramatic change in the understanding of how to achieve security in the 21st century. And the alternative approach to security would be to address the legitimate grievances that exist on the part of those that are inclined toward violent politics, to strengthen the global rule of law, to build a more capable United Nations that could operate more independently and could address on its own some of the humanitarian catastrophes around the world, the sort of Darfur kinds of situations, without being completely dependent on the political will of the strongest states in the world. The costs of war have far outweighed any rational utility that it might have had in reconciling security for political communities with a acceptable form of conflict resolution internationally. So in effect, what I'm suggesting is that we need to transform the fundamental forms of conflict resolution on the one side and problem solving on the other side. And therefore, one would hope that the reinterpretation of security in light of the failures of the last 8 years, the post 9/11 period, would lead to at least some movement in the direction of greater internationalism, less investment in military solutions, and more sense that if we want a peaceful world, we have to move toward achieving an equitable and just world. And I do think we have some small chance of taking advantage of this new set of political realities to move in much more constructive directions in the years ahead. But it's a small chance. The obstacles are big. You have a very strong bureaucracy entrenched around this older paradigm that persists as dominant. it will take a great deal of pressure from below to enable an elected leadership, however much it's inclined to move in new directions, to have the freedom of maneuver. And so I'm not sure at all that we will end up in several years without a new sense of disappointment about missed opportunities and a sense that the structural barriers to positive change seem just too strong for a constitutional process to achieve the sort of nonviolent revolution, in effect, that will be needed if we are, as a species, to confront these huge challenges that await us on a world level.